here at the Florida Silver Springs. We're gonna go check out some glass bottom boats. Okay, we paid our $2 per person admission fee at the Silver Springs State Park. And there's a lot of little different hike trails available. I saw there was some as small as less than a mile trail, and others I think maybe goes up to 15. When you go to, oh yeah, there we go. Let me see. Park trails, I'm walking, so it's a little hard to read. There we go. Oh no, I was totally wrong, not 15. But there's the different trails that you go to. But we booked a tour on the glass bottom boat. Oh, and I see the boat right up there. It's I think $12 per person. Now we're going on the shorter tour. Come on, Emma.
Yes.
I'm pretty excited about it because I think Emma will really enjoy it. There's all kinds of different park activities. There's camping area. There's equestrian trails, biking, hiking trails. Woo! It's a little windy today, but it's okay. I'm liking it because it's not hot. It's actually quite beautiful out. You do need to look out for animals and keep your eye out for animals. There's possible manatee sightings, alligators, raccoons, all kinds of other fun things. There are canoe rentals. What do you think, Emma? Oh, right here you can see one of the glass bottom boats is coming in. They do recommend that you call or ahead of time, or not a call, go online and make reservations ahead of time, because they do fill up pretty quickly. And sure enough, yeah, it's been pretty busy. But walking around, they said there's frequent sightings of armadillos, deers, turkeys, foxes, squirrels, gophers, and tortoises. There we go. And less frequent seen are coyotes, bobcats, and the Florida black bear. And the river are home to alligators, turtles, manatees, and many different fish. Okay, it's our turn. Well, there's one that's kind of empty right now, you can see. But it's a very bright day, so I'm hoping we're going to be able to see a lot.
Welcome aboard the world-famous glass-bottom boats in beautiful Silver Springs. Excuse me. We've been doing glass-bottom boat rides since 1878. This particular vessel, the Chief Micanopy, was built in 1965. That is ordinary glass down there, although it is a half-inch thick. All our enclosed boats like this are named after Seminole chiefs. Silver Springs, though, was the premier tourist destination in Florida for a long time. It predated the mouse. In fact, it was the first tourist destination in Florida. Back then it was privately owned, and over the course of time it fell into disrepair. So much so that in 2013, the state was able to acquire the park. When the state got a hold of the park, they got a hold of over 4,800 acres. A lot of that is wet. 120 plus springs. 30 of them we have named. And collectively, they will produce over 850 million gallons of water a day. Every day. All the water that comes out of the ground here at Silver Springs is at 72 degrees year-round, and it's 98% pure. Now, the one industry continuing to thrive here in the park, and has for decades, is the filming industry. The first movie that was made here was a black and white silent movie called The Seven Swans. Since then, over 250 movies, TV shows, and documentaries have been filmed here and are continuing to be filmed here to this day. Now, the first spring that we go to, we call Spring of the Stars, to honor the stars that worked here. Stars like James Dean filmed Rebel Without a Cause here at Silver Springs. Jackie Gleason, Burt Reynolds, Jerry Lewis, Tom Cruise, Jane Mansfield, Lloyd Bridges, all have done projects here at Silver Springs. And let us not forget the Olympic gold medal swimmer, Johnny Weissmuller, who did the first 6 Tarzan movies right here at Silver Springs. So now what we're looking for out of the first spring here, down through the glass will be a flat gray rectangular rock surrounded on 3 sides by white sand. The 4th side will be a hill with some of this marine growth on it. I will let you know when it's coming underneath the boat. But in the meantime, enjoy the bottom, because I'm sure you don't get to see a bottom of a river too often. And it's coming underneath the boat right now. It's that flat gray rock surrounded on 3 sides by white sand. It's that flat gray rock surrounded on 3 sides by white sand, has a big stick by it. That slit above the rock is where the water comes out of.
Oh, wow.
Everybody seen the rock? Yeah. Guys up front? You good? All right. This rock is in 26 feet of water.
Look at the fish.
The movie people tell us this is a really good depth to film at because it gives the illusion of deep water, but not the hassles of filming in deep water. Now the next spring I like to show you guys was an actual movie set. In 1954, there was a horror movie that was made here. It was called The Creature from the Black Lagoon. A local man named Rico Browning became the Creature. Rico got the job basically for 2 reasons. First, he could hold his breath over 4 minutes. And second, probably just as important, he fit the costume. So what we're looking for now is a V-shaped rock, V as in Victor, amongst the white sand that's coming up. Today it's the spring, but back in 1954, it was the Creature's lair, his den. And in the movie, this is the first place the Creature appears. He appears swimming out of this spring. And it is coming underneath the boat right now. It is that V-shaped rock down there. That's the spring. Rico would darn his costume, swim down there 31 feet, back himself up into that spring, wait for the director, signal for action, do whatever the script called to do, the whole time holding his breath. Then in 1955 and again in 56, they made 2 more Creature movies here. Return of the Creature from the Black Lagoon and The Creature Walks Among Us. Now, out of curiosity, how many folks have seen The Creature from the Black Lagoon? A few. Okay. For the rest of you that didn't raise your hand, if you would like to see the movie, when you leave the park, make a left-hand turn. Go down the road about a half a mile or so, and on the left-hand side is a big blue and white building. You can't miss it. It's called Walmart, and they usually have copies of the movie there. Now Now, we do have some visitors that come in once in a while, and they are called manatee. We have 8 to 10 manatee that call the park their home year-round. We do have more that come during the winter. We don't get as many as the coastal springs do, but we do get more. Manatee are a mammal. They are also called sea cow. They can grow to be an average weight of about 1,500 pounds, but as big as 3,000.
Mommy, no.
And a manatee can eat between 10 and 15%
Mommy,
of their
let's
body
water.
weight daily. Manatees don't sleep. They automatically raise to the surface to breathe. Motorboat doing 20 miles an hour, not paying attention, and the two of them collide. But cold, if a manatee's body temperature drops to 68 degrees, the manatee becomes stressed. If it hits 64, they could die. So they really like our 72-degree water because they think that this is a hot tub.
There. Right here, the water's flowing out.
Now, coming up underneath the boat now, up in the front, you're going to see bunches. We call this Florida snowstorm. If you look down there, you're going to see some snowflakes coming up out of the ground. Anybody see any snowflakes yet?
Yeah.
All right. What Florida snowflakes actually are limestone and seashells that are being crushed together by the pressure of the water and then brought up to the surface by the spring.
Yes. Yeah, there's seashells down there.
This is one of the few springs in the system that you actually see movement. The other two springs had water coming out of them, but you didn't see it because you're looking through water to see water, so you don't see it. But with this, with the Florida snow, gives you a reference point. You watch the snow, and you think you see the water moving. Now, as we go back out to the middle of the river, there's going to be an island on the right-hand side. We call that Bird Island. If you look up in the trees of Bird Island, there's some blackbirds making nests up there. Those are either ahingas or cormorants. It is mating season, so they're building homes. The ahinga, they are both a fishing bird, but the ahingas have a really cool nickname. They are called snake birds.
Oh.
And the reason they are called that is because when they are fishing, the only thing you see is their head and neck above the water. And it looks like a snake.
Oh, okay.
You'll also see the ahingas up and down the shoreline, usually standing on something, with their wings spread apart. The reason they do that is they don't have natural oil in their feathers like ducks do. So they get on something, spread their wings in the breeze and sunshine to dry out. Well, we are starting to rethink that theory a little bit due to the fact that they are fishermen. And we all know fishermen are prone to telling stories. So we figure the ahingas are the same. And the story they may be telling you is, yo guys, should have got here sooner. I caught a fish this big. Now, if you look down through the glass, you're going to see grass. This is eelgrass or ribbon grass. It grows to be 4 to 5 feet tall. When it breaks the surface, it looks like this grass alongside us on the island. Little fish love to hide in this stuff from the ahingas and the cormorant, so they can become big fish. And this is also the favorite snack of the manatee.
Mommy.
We have 8 to 10 manatee that call the park their home year-round. We do get more during the winter, but we don't get as many as the coastal springs. But because of having over 4,800 acres and a lot of it is wet, there is no telling when or where the manatee will show themselves. And that pretty much goes for all the animals in the park. because none of the animals in this park are fenced, caged, or corralled in any way. The races came in the 1930s when there was 3 different boat rides here. There was the Glass Bottom Boat, the Lost River Cruise, and then the Jungle Adventure Cruise. The Jungle Adventure Cruise was owned by a Colonel Toohey that bought 12 of these monkeys to put on an island downriver, so the people that bought his tickets and rode his boats had something different to look at. Well, when the monkeys were delivered, Toohey put them out on the island that night. The next day, he was on the first boat out. He wanted to see the people's reaction to his investment. He wanted to see the people's reaction to his investment. So, when the boat went by the island,
Greg found a gator right there.
when the boat went by the island,
Oh, he's going back in.
the only one that had a reaction was him. Because
There he
recent attack
goes.
monkeys are one of the few.
No,
Look out the
thank
right
you.
front. There is a gator there, guys. He's moving around a little bit right there on the
Up at
grass
the
line.
tree. Oh, sorry,
He's
right
moving in
there.
the same direction we are.
Oh, super.
I'm not right by the tree there.
We'll finish the monkey story in a minute.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Boy, he blends well.
Guys on the left-hand side of the boat, if you would like to stand up, try to take a look at him. Be my guest. He's underneath that down tree there. Yeah, he just went under. He didn't like the rustling of the tree.
Ooh, I don't know where he went now because I looked away for a half a second.
Same one, you throw in your frying pan.
The big bluefish or
Well, anyway, the
tilapia.
monkeys. When the monkeys were delivered, Toohey put them out on the island that night. The next day, he was on the first boat back out. He wanted to see the people's reaction to his investment. When the boat went by the island, the only one that had a reaction was him. Because rhesus attack monkeys are one of the few monkeys that can swim. They got hungry during the night and swam off. They've been running around here now for over 90 years.
Wow.
They obviously been very busy reappropriating because they went from 12 to 300. And they've been seen as far south as Fruitland Park and as far north as just south of Jacksonville. Now, coming underneath the boat right now, there's a big rock and a long piece of cypress wood next to the rock. It's a 28-foot piece of cypress. Cypress is a tree that grows here in Florida and elsewhere in Florida and Louisiana. It is a hardwood with a natural chemical in it that resists rotting in water. When we found this, we asked the University of Florida to come down and do some testing on it. Well, they took it back up to the school in Gainesville, and amongst the tests they ran carbon dating. This thing carbon dated out 590 to 610 years old. And while they had it up there, they discovered that they had in their possession the most intact Native American canoe in Florida. If you look at it, it is kind of curved. Well, being that it's over 600 years old,
Don't quite
would have
see
been
it.
the Tamukan tribe that used it.
Oh, is that it?
And being that it's 28 foot long, more than likely it's a ceremonial canoe. And the reason we say that, to give you a reference point, this boat you're on right now is 31 foot long. That would have been 3 foot short of what this boat is.
Wow.
It would have been very difficult for the Tamukan to get this in every little nook and cranny on this river that they would have went into
Stop.
to hunt and fish. Well, when the school realized what they had, they wanted to put it in their Museum of Natural History. The state said it wasn't a museum. Put it back. They had a little tussle. Guess who won? And when the school put it back, it was within an inch of where it came out of. That is the record keeping that they do. Now the next spring I'd like to show you folks, we call the Blue Grotto. The water here gets its blue color from the sunlight coming through the water, bouncing off the limestone bottom, going back through the water. The water acts like a prism, yielding the bluish color, bluish light. Scientists say that this spring here is a spring of the first magnitude. Well, when you translate that into a language we understand, that means this thing will produce anywhere from 46 to 60 million gallons of water a day. Just a slight little water leak. And it is coming under the boat right now. Anybody see the spring?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
How do you know it's there?
Snowflake.
What's that?
Snowflake.
No.
There you go. Florida snow. Hey, thanks for listening. This is not one of the other springs in the system that you actually can see movement. Well, with 46 to 60 million gallons of water a day, you may ask yourself, where does all that water go? St. John's River is one of the few rivers in the northern hemisphere that flows north. It flows north to Jacksonville, where it makes a right-hand turn and dumps out into the Atlantic Ocean. The Silver River here has between a 3 and an 8 mile an hour current, depending on where you are in the river. And from where you got on the boat to where it dumps out into the Atlantic Ocean is approximately 162 miles by water. And that is where our manatees swim in from. So I really can't blame the 8 to 10 manatees that call this place their home year round. What's not to like? They have warm water, plenty of food, and they don't have to swim 162 miles twice a year. Now, if you start looking at the left-hand side of the boat, you're going to see a wooden structure. We call this Sea Hunt Dock. Sea Hunt was a TV show in the late 50s, early 60s, starring Lloyd Bridges. The premise of the show was he was a retired Navy scuba diver that used his skills to help people in trouble. Well, they did 155 episodes out of here, and they wanted the viewing public to believe that they were in salt water. Well, guys, the only salt that was around here was in your margarita glass at the end of the day, because this is totally fresh water. Here, early in his career, called Legend.
Oh.
And
Yeah,
if you
80s.
were Smokey and the Bandit fans, and you remember in Smokey and the Bandit 3, there was a boat chase scene. Take a look out the front of the boat. This is where they filmed it. In fact, this boat that you are on right now had a cameo appearance in Smokey and the Bandit 3. Now, who can tell me what is this stuff hanging in the trees?
Moss?
Spanish moss.
Okay.
You are right. Why they call it that, I really don't know. I've heard a number of different theories, but nobody can tell me what is true. The one thing I do know is true about Spanish moss, that one of the first commercial uses of it came from a gentleman named Henry Ford. Old Henry owned a place down in Fort Myers, Florida. He saw this stuff growing on trees. So he sent his workers out to collect it. When they got enough of it together, they bundled it up and they shipped it to Detroit. In Detroit, they started stuffing the Model T seat with it. Well, what old Henry didn't know, and he couldn't Google it at the time, was Spanish moss has a little bug in it called chiggers. So as the people were riding across the countryside in their brand new shiny, any color you want as long as it's black, Ford, the chiggers were having lunch on the people's butts, forcing old Henry to have the first automobile recall in America. And guys, his second choice wasn't much better. It was horsehair. So thank your lucky stars for fall rubber, because Lord knows what the third choice might have been. Now the Seminoles. Were the primary. Oh, look out the left-hand side. There's a female Lahenga bragging on what size fish she caught today. The reason I know it's a female, she is brown from the chest up. Males are black from the chest up. Now the Seminoles were the primary Native American nation in this area. A lot of people thought they were a tribe, but they were a nation made up of smaller tribes. But their claim to fame is they were never defeated by the United States Army. In fact, they never signed a peace treaty. So technically, we are still at war with them. Although the American government wanted to have a peace treaty with them, the Seminole Tribal Council just didn't trust the American government. Can you guys believe that? They didn't trust the American government? Really?
That's about as American as you can get.
The Seminoles did want to play nice in the sandbox, so they called upon their warrior chief, Chief Osceola, to negotiate for them. The reason they used Osceola was his mother was Creek, which was one of the tribes in the nation, gave him his birthright as a Seminole. But his father was English and Scottish and taught his son how to read, write, and speak English. Well, when Osceola went to the negotiations, the government gave him a parchment of paper all rolled up. They told him it was the treaty. And it said, as long as you behave yourself, we'll let you live on your land in Florida. We'll feed you, clothe you, and give you medicine. But when he went to the council, he unrolled it and gave it, started reading it to them, and the words were different. If you behave yourself, we're going to pack you up and move you to Oklahoma.
Wow.
Well, the council's going, we don't know where or what Oklahoma is, but we have a pretty nice place here in Florida. I mean, look around, folks. This isn't half bad. So they told Osceola to take it back and tell the government no. When Osceola took it back to the government, he told them no by placing the parchment onto a stump.
Oh.
He took out his knife and he stabbed the treaty, thus symbolizing killing it. Well, unfortunately, that little gesture started the Second Seminole War. A few years later, Osceola was captured. His captors took him to a prison up by Charleston, South Carolina, where he died in prison at the age of 34 of dysentery. If you look out the right-hand side of the boat, you'll see a tan statue up there. That is Osceola stabbing the treaty. Now, if you guys can remember way back when we started this little journey, I said that this was the premier tourist destination in Florida. It predated the mouse by a lot. People used to come here to vacation. The way they got here was by steamboat. And when they arrived here, they thought that this was the end of the river. This isn't the end of the river, folks. This is actually the beginning of it. Right now, we are heading to the first spring in the river. It is known as a head spring. We call it Mammoth Springs because of the size of the opening. The opening of Mammoth Springs is 5 feet tall,
See the fishies?
65 feet across. That's more than 2 of these boats put end to end. It will yield over 550 million gallons of water a day at main flow. That is enough water to change the water in this basin we're in right now every 38 minutes. And if any of you are James Bond fans, this cave may look familiar to you because it was used in a movie, Thunderball, starring Sean Connery. Excuse me. The best Bond ever. Now we'll go across this little plateau with some algae. Then there will be a drop-off, and then there's Mammoth Springs. People on the left-hand side of the boat, you're getting a really good view of Mammoth Springs. Guys on the right, you should have sat on the left. Let me spin the boat around so the folks on the right don't speak ill of me when we get back in. As I back away from this plateau, look straight down that cliff wall. That big black opening down the bottom will be Mammoth Springs. The sun is cooperating, shining some light down there for you. That big opening down there, where the sun stops and the shadow begins, that is Mammoth Springs. The deepest part of Mammoth Springs that a person can get into is 55 feet deep. This white limestone sand in front of the opening is about 32 feet deep. Well, there's probably one last thing I could show you guys if anybody's interested. Or if not, we can just go back to the dock. Anybody want to see that last thing?
Yay!
You sure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I got one yet.
Yes.
In 1967, there was a very popular TV show called I Spy, starring Robert Culp and Bill Cosby. When they came here to do an episode, they brought with them statues that represented Greek gods. Well, after some negotiations, when they got done filming and they aired the episode, they told the viewing public they were in the Greek Isles. That was a lie. When they got done filming here and they started taking the statues out of the springs, the people of Silver Springs had a fit. So much so, they got up a petition that most of the town signed to leave the statues in the spring. Well, after some negotiations, they left us 3. Well, guys, that's pretty much what I got to show you today. Well, then the next part of the cruise I call Crash and Bang. We're going back to the dock. So please take a moment to look around your seat for any personal items. Any hats, glasses, sunglasses, phones, cameras, backpacks, pocketbook. Children, spouses. Sometimes that's the same thing. Anything you leave behind and would like back. Look on eBay tomorrow. I'm very reasonable when I sell it back to you. But folks, I want to thank you very much for allowing me to take you down the Sliver River and show you some of the spectacular scenery we call Silver Springs. And if any of you folks would like to partake in a 130-year-old tradition, you may do so by placing your gratuities right there on the glass that you've been looking through for a better part of 130 years. We have been very good at disguising our tip jar as a glass bottom boat. But folks, thank you very much for coming out. I hope you enjoyed the ride. I hope I was a little informative and somewhat entertaining.
Very entertaining.
And as we're going back in, I have one last question. How many of you are first-timers? We have a lot in common, guys. Think about that for a moment as I'm docking the boat. Well, on behalf of Silver Springs State Park, myself, Captain Steve, my 2 dock assistants, Josh and Phil, thank you very much for coming out today and spending some time in the park. Please watch your step getting off the boat. Enjoy the rest of the day in the park. You have a beautiful day. Get home safe tonight and come back and see us real soon.
Well, hey guys, we just wanted to thank you for joining us today at the Silver Springs State Park. It's actually this beautiful like hidden gem, although it's not really hidden. It's out here, we just didn't know it was here. We had a great time just walking around. We didn't walk around too far. Maybe next time, and we just love the glass bottom boat. But I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you later. Please like and subscribe. We'll see you later. Bye.